Okay, great. Thank you all. I was also told to go much faster than normal, given the time constraint we have. So today I'm going to talk about what are innovations in driving immediacy and purchasing decisions through mobile advertising. So for those of you who are not familiar with InMobi, we're the world's largest independent mobile advertising network and also a leader in mobile-first technologies. We just got great news as of yesterday that we were named one of the 50 disruptive companies globally by MIT Technology Review. So today I'm going to talk about a couple of things. What are the key trends in mobile advertising here in India? And what is the how in mobile advertising in order to drive to purchase decisions? So a first key trend I want to talk about is 2013 is a seminal year in mobile advertising. 2013 is when the mobile internet usage is expected to exceed that of desktop internet usage globally. If you look in India, it's already actually happened back in May. So that transition has occurred, and it's a significant shift when you look at the entire ecosystem of mobile. A key thing about mobile relative to online is that it's very personal and interactive. You can sense movement, you can touch with smartphones, you can do various calls to actions that are unique to mobile, like click to SMS, click to call, click to calendar, and also it's location aware and it's on the go. I think all of you probably keep your phones with you at all times. So what's happening in India? So India, like a lot of emerging markets, what you're seeing is that there's a high demand for smartphones and tablets. Feature phone demand is in fast decline relative to smartphones and tablets. And what's really driving this is Android. What you're seeing is a huge acceleration of Android. It's dropping the price points for smartphones. So over the next few years, you'll see that people who normally traditionally couldn't afford smartphones are going to quickly start adopting it. So I'm going to share with you guys very quickly some of the new research we've done on media consumption in India. And then I'll share a bunch of case examples of how to think about mobile advertising in this context. So the first question we ask people, this is a survey of mobile internet users in India, is what is your average time spent in consuming different forms of media? So on average, 6.2 hours of media is consumed per day. Of that, 102 minutes was on mobile. And this is specifically not including calling and SMS. So this is people going on mobile web or mobile app. And if you compare that, it's relatively high compared to online or watching TV amongst the mobile internet users. Another question we ask people is, how do you typically get online? So in India, again, 60%, almost 60% said they use mobile as their primary or exclusive means of getting online. We asked people, where are you using your mobile phone? And not surprisingly, 81% said they're using it when they're waiting for something, an equally high proportion when they're lying in bed. So this is a very common phenomenon we see in many markets where, as soon as you wake up in the morning, as soon as you go to bed at night, you're using your mobile device. You can see commuting, watching TV, or all other use cases where people are actually using their mobile phone. Some of you are laughing. It's probably because of the bathroom statistic. That's relatively high here in India. What are people consuming when they're on their mobile device? So the top 3 things in terms of content they're consuming is entertainment, so music, videos. The second one's around social media, so it could be Facebook, especially Facebook here in India. And the third one is around playing games. And when you see where's the growth happening, it's really coming from social media and usage of applications here in India. So we asked people, what are the 2 most common forms of media that really influence your purchasing decisions? And what you see on the right-hand side there is TV and online, but then you see mobile is almost on par with TV. So it's a very high in terms of purchasing decision influence. So what we ask people is, if you look down the entire purchase funnel, everything from awareness down to sale, how has mobile advertising influenced you? So everything from, has it introduced you to something new? So awareness, 76% said yes. Has it provided you with better options? 74% said yes. All the way down to the funnel where you see on shopping, has it influenced you to go and do an in-store purchase? 50%. I want to share with you guys this, I don't know if you've seen this, it's a very famous chart that Mary Meeker published in the US, basically benchmarking how is mobile as a media effective relative to other forms of media. And what you see on almost every dimension of reach, targeting, engagement, virality, and transaction, mobile is significantly outperforming other forms of media. So that's all a great story. Mobile's growing, it's clearly where the consumers are, it's highly effective, high ROIs. So then what's the problem? Well, the problem today is the majority of media planning is happening in silos. So most brands you talk to today, they say, oh, I have my TV strategy, I have my digital, meaning online strategy, they may have a print strategy, out of home, etc. And occasionally they may be thinking about a mobile strategy. But the problem is that's all very much in silos. So when you're looking from an advertiser perspective, the questions they're constantly asking themselves is, if I have a TV spot, how do I extend my user engagement? How do I increase the value of the online buys through purchase conversion? How do you basically extend these different forms of media? So our belief is that mobile-rich media creative is actually the key to having that connected strategy across the different forms of media. And I'll give you a lot of examples of how we're implementing this concept in mobile. So I'm going to go through a couple of the key innovations and trends that are really helping drive users through that path to purchase. Before I do that, I want to give you guys a very quick history of mobile advertising for those who are not familiar. In the days of feature phones, it was very much all about SMS advertising. As feature phones became a little more complex and feature-rich, we started seeing these kind of what you call standard banner displays. But then it's really in the last 2 years you've seen this explosion with smartphones of what we call mobile-rich media, or MRM. And basically what it allows is a full screen canvas, really, to have a very interactive experience for brands. So a lot of the conversations that folks like Wendy Clark was talking about is really possible now through mobile. So one key trend we're seeing is this rich media is really becoming what we call engagement media. So you can really take the user through the entire purchase funnel journey through one ad unit in this case. So it's not all about just having a call to action, but it's actually bringing an app-like experience within the ad unit. So brands in many cases don't have to invest in separate apps just to have, say, for a brand awareness campaign, for example. So I'll actually ask if you guys can play that video. Can you guys just play that? So this is an example with Levi's jeans. So it's actually a very advice-oriented ad. It asks people, what are your typical fit issues that you have with jeans? What is your seat type? What is your body type? What are the kind of fit issues you have? You take a quick survey, and out pops a recommendation. It says, hey, you're a bold curve. Why don't you click to buy now or share it with your friends? So you can see that it's very additive in terms of actually getting the consumer to think about what kind of product they need to purchase. Here's an example with Unilever. I'm going to share a bunch of case studies now, where when you think about going down the purchase funnel, you want to think about how are users thinking of experiencing the product, getting aware of it. This is an example we did with Dove, where literally the users asked to brush the woman's hair, drag, drop, apply the product to the hair for this hair fall solution. This actually won a lot of awards for us recently in the Smarties. But it really encapsulates a lot of what the user needs to know about the product without having to actually experience it. A similar concept to experiencing a product, as you guys all know, Nokia's now moved to the Windows platform. The biggest hurdle for them is most people haven't experienced the Windows UI. So before they'll go out and decide to buy it, they probably have to go in the store to experience the Windows UI before they decide whether or not they want to buy this product. So what we did is we actually emulated the entire Windows UI in the ad unit. So what you're seeing here is the ad unit, which is an emulation of the UI itself, which is a fantastic solution because users can actually experience the UI without going in the store itself. Here's another example with Unilever with Sunsilk. What's interesting about this is talking about that connected strategy, you can connect this whole idea of having TVCs with mobile. So in this case, you have a Sunsilk product, you're asked to shake the phone, so it takes advantage of the accelerometer. The hair becomes all frizzy, you drag, drop, apply the Sunsilk, and it becomes all nice and straight. And then you basically create that interaction around the actual TVC in this case. This is a campaign we did for Samsung here in India. And it's good that we actually came, I'm speaking after the gamification group here. So the idea is to bring gamification within the actual ad units. Because what we find is the brand recall and the brand engagement is significantly higher when you do so. So in this case, if any of you are familiar with the very popular app at the time, which was Draw Something, it basically asks you to guess different features of the Samsung phone. This is another, moving on into the whole idea of location and how you take advantage of that through mobile. This is an example we did with Kia Motors, where it was kind of two aspects to this particular ad, which was you can customize the car. So you can click on the colors you want, choose your hubcaps, choose different features, and then you can, once you're done with that, you can click to find the nearest dealer near you. So a very common application of location is depending on where you are with your phone, it can find and tell you what are your nearest dealers or nearest retail locations. Because one of the key things users want is addresses to nearest store or directions to the nearest store. That's a very common request. This is a fantastic example we did with McDonald's, which brought both context and location into play. So McDonald's has a lot of research out there that says, what people buy in the store is highly temperature dependent. So what we did here is, if you're standing in Manila and you're opening up this ad unit, we actually built in a weather feed. So you can say, hey, it's 32 degrees and sunny outside, and it customizes the ad unit to only serve up and show the cold drinks. And if it was, let's say, 20 degrees in Bangkok one day and you see the same ad unit, then it'll actually show the hot drinks instead. So it's very much personalizing it relative to the context of the situation. I want to talk a bit about social. Social is a very key component in mobile advertising, again, as part of having a connected strategy. Because when you think about it, you have the kind of core paid media, but what social gets you is this enormous amplification through earned media as well. So what can you do with social through mobile advertising? Many brands have objectives, rightly or wrongly, for getting fans on their Facebook page. So those kind of things can be driven. You can also share ad messages, invites, promotions. Another key interesting thing is when you have any kind of promotion, rather than having people save the coupon on the phone directly, you can actually ask them to share with their friends first in order to get the coupon. So you force the virality of the message and the promotion or the sale before they can actually get the benefit of it. Again, talking to coupons, 31% of consumers said they'd like to see coupons make more use of mobile ads. Now, the key thing with coupons is it's a great way to track the mobile to offline conversion, but it can only work if you have the proper back-end POS system to support it. So if you have a code for a relevant campaign, you need to have the POS that will recognize that once that coupon was used, that it was tied back to this campaign. Not all brands are set up that way, but some are, so we're starting to see an evolution in this area. This is an example that's very interesting that, again, is location, but in this case, the purpose of the campaign was a launch party for Lancome. This was in Singapore, where the call to action was to save the invite to the user's phone. So they can save the invite, go to the actual event, show the invite, and then they get in and get some prizes, etc. So what's interesting about this is the calls to action that's around click to calendar and saving invites as well. This is one we ran with Titan watches. This is an example of showing a product collection. So again, showing the richness that you can do. You can show the entire collection of a product. And this is taking it to the next level. So instead of just showing a collection, why not curate what you think the user should use? So in this case, for Tiffany's, it's a him and her gift for any occasion. So first the users ask, is the gift for him or for her? And let's say they say it's for her. Then it says, great, what's the occasion? Is it an anniversary? Is it a birthday? What is it? And then based on that, it's a Tiffany curated collection that comes up as to saying, this is what we recommend for you for this occasion. So it's very much being an advisor, again, to the consumer. I'm going to finally just end on a couple of quick innovations that I would see is coming up on the horizon. So I don't know how many of you have seen this image before. It's very popular. This is something that a store has done, a retail store in Brazil. And what you're seeing is on the coat hangers itself, they have the number of likes associated with that item of clothing. So that's really powerful because when you talk about that connected strategy, it's literally allowing people to make decisions in the store based on what people are liking in the broader social ecosystem. So if you think about that again in the context of mobile, if you're real-time liking something, let's say in your mobile ad, you can see that translate directly into the store as well. And I mean, this is a retail example, but you can imagine that in pretty much any other scenario as well. This is an innovation we've actually just launched in beta, but using our Sprout technology. What's interesting about this ad unit is it's basically a makeup ad unit where you drag, drop, apply the makeup interactively to the model, and then you can share the look or buy the look. But now imagine instead of doing that with the model, you actually apply it to yourself, or you apply it to your friend. And the way that you can do that is through camera access. So if you're in the ad unit, you can actually take the phone, turn it to yourself, turn it to your friend, and then you can do this kind of interaction. And you can imagine that's far more powerful because it's much more personalized than in this particular case. And finally, I'm going to end on one innovation which I say is much further in the future, but you can see it as something that takes advantage of a very big trend that's happening, which is dual screen. So 63% of mobile web users in India said they use the device while watching TV. So on that note, I just want to share with you guys a demo that we shared last year. This, again, is very much a demo. It's early stage, but you can kind of see the applications that one can do for this. So if you guys want to just hit play on this video. So what you're seeing is a smart screen. This is for National Geographic Great Migrations. And what you see is, through an audio-visual cue while you're watching TV, you can take your handset and it'll basically, through that audio-visual cue, bring relevant content to your phone. So it could be upselling a new TV show, it could be related to an ad, it could be related to really anything. So when you talk about location, in the context of mobile, this is location with you on your couch, watching TV, and how do you have that interaction? So these are just some of the really interesting innovations that are around the corner as well. So with that,
super.
Was that within time? All right. All right, thanks.
But no, thank you so much. I think it was a wonderful presentation full of case studies. Really helps.
Hello.
Okay, very quickly, coming up next is Imtiaz. He's the founder and CEO of Hopper, and he will throw some light on Solomo. So Imtiaz, can we have you on stage, please?
Hey, good evening, everybody. I've been here for like 1.5 hours, and I must say that I think you should give all of you a big hand for actually digesting so much content in the last 1 hour. Can you just please give a big hand to yourself? Because very honestly, I couldn't, right? Because I think it's, and she's at it saying fast now, 20 minutes presentation, now we have just 12 minutes, and now we have like 9 minutes, and it's constantly moving. So I'll quickly start the presentation. So the topic that we had was very, very long, right? Saying location, relevancy, brand, mobile, social. I think anything which is really the in or the buzzword, as they call it, right? So I would say, so I thought we tried to condense this topic and say, I think there are 3 words, feet, forks, and fingers. Feet because location, right? Is wherever we go, and that's location. Forks is social, right? Forks is friends and social. Fingers, I think, what is the most important thing we do with our fingers now? Okay, mobile, right? Before you guys carry on. So I'm Imtiaz, I'm part of a startup with a brand name called Hopper, and these are my quick details. So I think what's the desired response? So I think in the next super fast 10 minutes, I think the only thing that I will try and get out of all of you is that you should say, hey, the social, location, mobile, that is so much. Let's give this a shot. That's the only expectation that I will have from this crowd. And if I can do at least 50% of the people say, looks interesting, let's give it a shot. And that really is what I'm going to attempt, right? And be a part of this. So let's start with location or feet. As a child, and this is just my thought, right? As a child, my first view about location is the places that I used to buy in a Monopoly game, right? That's when we used to buy Matungas of the world, right? Trade in some money, buy a Matunga. But interesting, what we used to play to trade, the location, is now actually has got us into trade, right? And that location is going to improve our trade. So again, as a child, this is what I thought location was. As a grown-up, I think people are laughing because the picture assembles in my head. Okay, this is my team, a colleague of mine who's done this presentation called Jagrat. But as we grow up, location got to do with a lot of where I am and where I want to be. And that really is what we are today, right? As a customer, for us as a customer, we always look at, can I get my things at the closest place? That's what it is, right? Simple, plain English, no graphs. As a customer, I say, hey, can I get it at the closest place in the best possible form? And as a marketer, we want to be next to where the action is. That's what location is. I want to be where my consumers are. Let me share with you my moment of location. Actually, this happened in the year 2008 when BlackBerry was there, and since BlackBerry is still there, but where BlackBerry was really big, right? And I used to use a BlackBerry device. And I was very new to Delhi. I never knew fog. I came to Delhi only in 2007. It was like one of my first foggiest days of life. I was having a drink at my friend's place and we had to go home, and that's like only 6 kilometer distance. We came out, we couldn't see anything. And this is a true story, actually. I came out and I told my wife, hey, we have to go home, right? Let's go home, right? Let's try. And we couldn't see. We came out of the apartment. I couldn't see anything. I tell you, I opened Google Maps. And this is in Gurgaon, from Phase 5 to near Sona Road, if people who know Gurgaon. We could not see a red light. This was at 12 o'clock in the night. We could not see a red light. There is no way I could see anything. We actually reached home by Google Maps. That was my moment of location. I was working for a company then, and I said, hey, you know what? So when I quit, my boss asked, what do you want to do? And I said, mobile looks interesting, location has an opportunity. Right? And that really is when, this is my moment of location which led it. And I think it's very important for all of us to step back and say, hey, what is that aha moment of location? Because if even today, a social location mobile hasn't created an aha moment for you, you still are far away. I think everybody will have an aha moment. This was my moment of location. Let's talk about social. This is the conversations of yesterday. We all remember. Right? This is how we used to talk yesterday, right? Send reinforcements, we are going to advance. Finally, if all the friends talk, it reaches to send 3 and 4 pens, we are going to advance. It's a very classic case. Those days of conversation where you tell one person something and it ends up at something else. These are conversations. I'm sure you've seen a lot of these brands all over every presentation, so we thought, how can we not have these brands logos in our presentation also, right? But I think the conversations are moving from one to many, many to one, many to many, positive, negative. There are lots of points to it. A lot of people still debating, do we use social media or not? Is it a good thing, bad thing? But I think you don't have a choice. I don't think you can think anymore. This is the reality and it exists. Let's come to mobile. First, very important point. It's ubiquitous. It's everywhere, all over the place. 80% of the people in the last 5 hours that you've been here were looking more at your mobile phone than the screen. I mean the screen, right? Very ubiquitous. Very intelligent. Mobile screen is very intelligent. Earlier when you used to get a call, you used to not know who's at the other side. Remember, this is just 20 years back in India, right? Today, I think your mobile knows a lot more. And I think this is the reality of life. I think mobile is very intelligent. The call that's coming, the person that's there, you know who's the person, who knows his friends. I think it's becoming very intelligent. Engaging. Right? It's talking. You're able to interact. And we'll talk about the next one, which is marketing, and say how it's interacting. But mobile today is a lot more engaging. It's no more one way. It's not you're getting a call. You're participating, right? If you look at all the presentations ended with saying, take your phone and do this, do that. Somebody was lucky winning an iPad mini. I also tried. And we played a game on Twitter, right? And yeah, I think it's becoming very engaging. It allows you to talk. It's no more one way, right? Now we talked about location, we talked about social, we talked about mobile. I think you will say, okay, all this is known. What's the marketing? How do you really stitch this three? And let me talk about a marketing level. Old way of marketing. And I actually wanted to go further old, which is panchayat and how people used to sit and talk and communicate and use many phrases. But I thought, let's go a little not old, like the print ads that we have, right? I think it's old. Very recent. The reason I'm showing this as recent, Because a lot of people in this room will say, oh, digital is reasons. What's wrong with you guys? Oh, but that's not where the money is. I've got my friend who buys a lot of media on my left-hand side, right? And I know that, still digital media is like that innovation. It's still the last slide where the head of the company will say, but there is no innovation. He'll press the button and boom, website and mobile will open saying, this is the innovation that we are doing. Right? Am I right, Arun? It's still that, right? And I think it's foolish to not look at this. Today, this is recent, right? For all the soaps that we watch. But now, what is picking up is this. What is picking up? And this is happening in all boardrooms. It's happening today as we talk, right? They are talking about it, right? The opportunity is hey, engage with this audience. It's no more one-way communication. The good part about mobile, and is how much ever we repeat, is that I think you can engage in the communication itself. It's not a one-way, it's both ways. You tell something to a consumer saying, buy this is lovely, this will make you beautiful, and the consumer can say you're lying. It's possible, on the spot, right? And there are a lot of innovations. My colleague Falgun showed some of them. What I'm going to spend next 5 minutes, 5 minutes, is really talking about some of the things that you should do when you can bring all these three together, right? How can this whole feet, forks, fingers can make some money, right? Money, business, trade, right? How do you really grow the business? How do we gamify? How do we solve some problems? Gamification is the root, and I really love, and I'm a big believer on gamification, so I think it's a fabulous thing to do. Number one, if you do social, location, mobile, if you're doing something on mobile, please sharpshoot. Don't do this. Yeah, if you want to do this, mobile is not the place. Sharpshoot. Agree on your target audience. Talk to them, talk to their friends, relevant friends, use social, but just don't be all over the place. I think be fair. Be the first to be discovered. If you're a brand and if you want to use mobile, it's very important to look at location as a way to be discovered by your customers. Just be discovered and be the first to be discovered. Right? There's a little bit of a pun on the Apple, but be the first to discover it. I think it's very simple, right? A lot of social, location, mobile ends up with being a location search, right? Social, location, mobile. I tell a lot of people that I think maybe it reduces number of questions. Location reduces number of questions, right? Instead of me asking you, tell me where are you? It's like, those days when you call up somebody and say, हाँ हमको ये चाहिए, and he says, sir आप कहाँ पे हो? हाँ मैं दिल्ली में हूँ, NCR में हूँ, ठीक है गुड़गांव में हो, गुड़गांव में कहाँ पे हो, फेस 5 में हो, फेस 5 में कहाँ पे हो? I think location actually cuts these 4 questions. It's very simple. It's not a rocket science. It exists on the mobile. The reason why we talk about location is that it doesn't require a consumer to do anything. Because somewhere, consumers are always lazy. Right? Consumers are lazy. Because your network knows location or your device knows location, location is picking up, and it's like, for businesses like ours, we use location because I think it's the easiest to build. Otherwise, consumer profiling is still far away. Right? So I think be discoverable. I think this is fabulous. Let me give you an example, right? And if your consumers are coming to you, why don't you allow them to say something about your place? That's one part of it. That's a very social part of it. Now, how do you leave footprints? Actually, at Hopper, Wrangler came to us saying they do this thing called True Wanderers. I don't know if people have heard this campaign called True Wanderers, where they select this youth of this country, the top 15 youth of the country, give them bikes like Harley Davidson, and tell them to go around the country in the Wrangler. So this time what we did, see what they do is that these bike guys keep going to and visiting different parts of this country and leave their note, right? They leave a post-it note or whatever. We said, hey, why don't we leave these footprints for life? So this time what we did, they used Hopper to go at every place and left a tip. It's a True Wanderers tip across the country. So next time when you go there and switch on our service, it might just say, hey, the True Wanderer said this. Imagine. So whatever you did is for life. I think today you could do that with location and mobile. You could leave, you can allow your consumers to engage with you and leave a footprint of their own or of their friends. We don't even remember. If I ask you a question, what was the last... Actually, if I ask you a question, 2 slides ke pehle kya bola maine, I'm sure you don't remember. right? I think that's where what we have to do as brands, we have to keep on reminding consumers. So you get an information saying, hey, you know what, I love this place. You said this, I love this place last time, but imagine next time when you come, hey, you came here 6 months back and you love this place. Help the consumers. And I think being on social, on location, on mobile, you could do this, right? Don't do boring offs, right? Imagine you saw, imagine you could do something like this where, your two friends have come together, then actually you could give them something off. Right? And I can just say buying two is stupid. Right? Buying 1 + 1 is free, right? So I think why don't you tap the social? You, your friends, and they come together. Why don't you do something? It's sort of hatke than normal discounting, right? It also helps people to talk to their friends and engage in socially. I have to say this. Right? This is the only time that I'm going to talk about Hopper. Right? Whenever you do something, I believe that don't restrict only to smartphone. 700 million active devices, smartphone. I know Android is 60%, it's going to be 80%, it's growing at 100%. Number of smartphone active users in India today is 20 million. Right? Look at something which allows you to engage with the consumer on any device. So today Hopper actually allows your location to happen from any device, even a $20 device, right? So when you do a marketing plan, think about it. Don't look at only smartphone users, right? India, of course, is moving towards that phase, but I think as we speak today, it's important to look at all consumers. Very, one of the big, case studies of location, right? Make lean hours your peak hours. There's a great chance to say, hey, you know what, why don't you come over with your friend right now and make it a peak hour? Most of the businesses have this problem. Most of the businesses, and we engage with a lot of businesses today, and they have this problem. I think location-based services allow you to do this. So look at it. Look at, how do you really make your lean hours, peak hours, by engaging with consumers, talking to them, using them to inform their friends, using social to inform their friends. Make it fun. And I got a cute video. Come on, I'm not the video. There you go. I think it's fabulous, isn't it? Right? Clearly, when you build brand, you have to have a lot of fun aspect to your brand. You can't be so serious. And I think, using, a location, mobile brings immediacy. The topic was building, immediacy, and I said, hey, you know what? Don't bring immediacy by just bringing 25% off, 50% off, 80% off, free coffee, da 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 da. Build a brand around it, right? Give a clear, tangible benefit, which could be some kind of a discount, saving money. But I think this is also a very tangible benefit, right? The biggest tangible benefit, I think, right, that you can give to consumers is actually bring joy in their life. And I think when you use mobile, you should think a lot of that. You should bring a smile. That's one thing that's lacking most of the times in consumers' lives, right? I'll just say one thing, just one request: don't spam. I say this every time. This is one like standard slide, right? Because our business revolves around this in terms of doing something on mobile. And if you spam, then our business will go down. So I think this is one thing that every marketer should say, hey, don't spam. Right? And above all, I promised you, that's what one take, that most importantly is that do give it a shot. And this is one thing that I'll say, everybody do give it a shot. It comes really cheap. Sometimes it comes free.
All right.
At Hopper, we don't charge you if you want to do, just 1 second. At Hopper, we don't charge you for doing anything, so do it free, right? Engage with your consumers, use mobile. It's a very, very easy medium. And these are my contacts. And thank you so much.